Shout out to all the 12-year-olds in the building. What's up? It's mad 12-year-olds in this tonight.
The courtroom went wild when the judge openly clowned Drake, even throwing shade by calling him the Canadian Katy Perry. Yes, in front of everyone, the judge mocked Drake's legal team, making it clear he had a stronger grip on rap culture and lyrical beef than the very attorneys who came to defend the superstar. Now, the case itself is no joke. Drake's entire lawsuit hinges on his claim that Kendrick Lamar's explosive track, Not Like Us, damaged his reputation. The record didn't just throw shots, it went all the way in, accusing Drake of disturbing behavior involving minors, with chilling imagery like pins on his mansion and that unforgettable hopscotch sequence with shipping containers in the video. Fans argued this wasn't just rap beef. This looked like a straight-up character assassination, but here's where the irony cuts deep. Way back in 2009, right after So Far Gone catapulted him into the spotlight, Drake himself dropped a diss record titled Good Riddance. And guess what? That track was designed to bury another rapper named Aristo, featuring multiple artists who already had beef with him. Drake wasn't even fully established yet, but he was already trying to end careers before he secured his own lane. According to Rap Genius, Good Riddance became one of Drake's final real diss records after he later claimed he had no time for beef. But fans haven't forgotten. The parallels between his past moves and his current legal cries are shocking. Back then, Aristo was barely known, and Drake was still hungry for recognition. But the ruthlessness was already there, showing he's no stranger to playing dirty in the rap game. Drake didn't just aim at Aristo, he tried to erase him from the rap map completely. The final bar of Good Riddance left no room for doubt. Good riddance, Aristo, I just retired you. That mic drop moment was cold, echoing the same battle rap energy that made 8 Mile legendary. Just like Eminem's character tore through opponents, Drake strutted into the booth determined to destroy, brushing off wealth, fame, and even friendships like they meant nothing. Because at that time, he was still a Degrassi actor trying to flip into rap glory. The track hit every sore spot. Drake even addressed whispers that he borrowed flows and name-dropped Joe Budden, casually admitting to past battle losses while painting Aristo as a hopeless case. That move set the tone for what would become Drake's signature style, competitive posturing, positioning himself as untouchable no matter the L's he took. One of the most jaw-dropping lines came when he spat, "Yes, I took an L on my own and they didn't damage me. You try to cover up your lies like a canopy." But then he went darker, throwing in a bar about pulling 17-year-olds down in Bramley. The message was layered with accusations, dishonesty, shady behavior, and a warning that nobody credible could vouch for Aristo. Drake even painted him as the type to fold in court, snitch, and take plea deals just to save himself. And here's the wild twist. Even back then, Drake dipped into risky territory with metaphors tied to underage themes, weaving in imagery of school uniforms to craft his wordplay. It was provocative, unsettling, and controversial, foreshadowing the very allegations he's now fighting against in court today. What's wild is how Good Riddance now feels like a mirror of Drake's own future. Back then, he admitted to borrowing Joe Budden's flow, bragged about owning his L's, and then turned around and blasted rivals with claims of snitching and shady behavior. Fast forward over a decade later, and those same themes, snitching, dishonesty, and allegations of inappropriate behavior have all circled back and are haunting Drake in real time. Talk about rap karma coming full circle. Now let's bring it to the present. The court showdown on June 30th, 2025. This wasn't just another routine date. This hearing shaped the entire future of Drake's case. Before this, the biggest move came when his lawyers demanded key documents from UMG, pushing hard for industry receipts. The timeline so far is simple but heavy. Drake filed his defamation lawsuit. UMG clapped back with a motion to dismiss, basically telling the judge, this whole case is baseless. That set the stage for the first explosive hearing where both sides threw down. UMG argued why the lawsuit had no legs, while Drake's team came swinging with reasons why Kendrick's lyrics crossed the line and deserved to be put on trial. The judge didn't just sit back, he grilled them on whether battle rap bars could legally count as defamation and if Drake's claims had enough weight to even survive. And here's the bombshell. The judge straight up denied UMG's motion to dismiss, meaning Drake's lawsuit isn't going anywhere. That single decision cracked the door wide open for a new wave of filings, with Drake's lawyers now demanding massive record pulls and internal documents that could drag UMG and maybe even Kendrick deeper into the mud. Drake's legal team went way off script with their latest demands, digging into communications not just with Kendrick and his right-hand man Dave Free, but even involving Kendrick's own kids. On top of that, they tossed in shocking abuse allegations and bizarre requests tied to online commentators like Screwface John, a YouTuber and rapper who suddenly found his name dragged into the courtroom chaos. Fans couldn't believe it. This was starting to look less like a clean defamation case and more like a witch hunt. But before we unpack all those eyebrow-raising filings, let's zoom in on the June 30th hearing, the day that truly revealed how the judge sized up Drake's lawsuit. This was the first time the public got to watch Drake's high-priced attorneys go head-to-head with the bench, and the energy in that room said it all. The crazy part? The judge himself seemed to know more about rap culture than the actual lawyers defending Drake. It all started standard. Drake's lawyer, Mike Gottlieb, introduced himself. The judge immediately framed the showdown, reminding everyone this was UMG's motion to dismiss, meaning UMG had the floor first, then Drake's camp, followed by a rebuttal. But what shook people most was how sharp the judge's focus was. He cut straight to three make-or-break issues. Number one, could Kendrick's fiery Not Like Us lyrics, which Drake insists are defamatory, actually be treated as factual claims, or were they just artistic opinion? Number two, could the court even make that call this early on? The way the judge broke it down had people whispering that Drake might be in way deeper than he thought. The third major issue the judge zeroed in on was the New York Stein-Hilbert test, the exact legal standard used to separate fact from opinion. And here's why that matters. Facts, if false, can be defamatory, but opinions usually get full protection under free speech laws. Courts break it down by asking three key things. Are the words precise? Can they actually be proven true or false? And does the context make it clear they're just opinion, or are they hinting at hidden facts? That razor-thin line is what this entire case hangs on, because if Kendrick's bars and Not Like Us are treated as opinion, Drake's lawsuit could collapse in an instant. But if they're read as factual claims, the case blows wide open. With that framework locked in, it was finally UMG's turn to speak, and they didn't hold back. UMG's lawyers came swinging at Drake's defamation claim while brushing past two of his other complaints. Their central point circled right back to what the judge himself had raised earlier. Kendrick's lyrics are pure opinion, not factual accusations. In legal talk, that makes them non-actionable, meaning they can't even be tested in court. They explained it simply: calling someone rude is an opinion. Saying someone stole $500 is a verifiable fact. One can be sued over, the other can't. And here's the twist. UMG's counsel pushed hard on New York law, reminding the judge that deciding whether speech is fact or opinion isn't up to a jury's emotions, it's up to the court itself. That makes the motion to dismiss stage the perfect place to shut Drake's claims down early. The way they framed it, Kendrick's diss track was nothing more than sharp-edged art, not a legally punishable lie. UMG went straight for the jugular, pointing out that Drake's massive 27-page legal brief never once acknowledged the most critical detail, the fact versus opinion rule. And under New York law, that distinction isn't up for debate. It's crystal clear. The judge, not a jury, gets to decide if words are facts or just opinions. That means the judge could slam the brakes on this entire case before it even sniffs a trial if Kendrick's lyrics get stamped as opinion. Drake's camp, of course, doubled down, insisting Kendrick's bars and Not Like Us were cold, hard, factual claims. But UMG wasn't budging, hammering the point that these were opinions wrapped in rap artistry. That's when the judge cut in, and jaws dropped. He admitted that legal precedent actually lined up with UMG's position. The judge pulled out two past cases, nicknamed here as Bryan and Davis. In Davis, the court focused on timing. It was way too early in the process to dismiss. They ruled that if lyrics, when heard in their natural context, could possibly be defamatory, the case had to move forward. But in Bryan, the opposite happened. The court shut the entire defamation claim down after deciding that an objective listener would clearly hear the statements as opinion, not fact. UMG's lawyers leaned hard on that Bryan angle, telling the judge that rap beef has always lived in the realm of opinion and exaggeration. But here's the kicker. Courts have also ruled that when remarks sound broad or ambiguous, and some listeners might hear them as defamatory, then it's a jury's call, not just the judge's. That gray area is exactly where Drake's lawsuit now sits. The case has morphed into something bigger than just him and Kendrick. It could literally set the legal blueprint for how diss tracks, battle raps, and lyrical shots get judged in court from here on out. Drake's lawyers came swinging with a bold claim. Even if Kendrick's Not Like Us lyrics were just opinion, they were still dangerous enough to be taken as straight-up defamatory. They argued that the average listener could easily hear those bars as more than jokes or exaggeration, but UMG wasn't having it. Their lawyers fired back with legal ammo, leaning on past precedents where courts tossed out similar claims without hesitation. That's why this case has so many industry heads nervous. If Drake actually pulls off a win, it could rewrite the entire rule book for how rap lyrics get judged in court. UMG locked in on the Davis case as their shield. In that lawsuit, the court refused to dismiss because the speaker's comments hinted they had secret receipts. Basically, the words implied inside knowledge beyond casual opinion, which made them potentially defamatory. Drake's camp is now trying to run that exact same play, pointing to Kendrick's cryptic line, "The rabbit hole is still deep, I can go further." They claim it sounds like Kendrick has hidden evidence that goes beyond rap theatrics. In Davis, what kept the case alive was context. The speaker wasn't just spitting insults, they were tied to a real university investigation, making comments before results were public. That gave the words weight, authority, and credibility, which turned them into something a reasonable listener might take as fact. Drake's lawyers are praying the court sees Kendrick's lyrics the same way, but UMG blasted back that this isn't Davis at all. They argued Kendrick's bars were pure diss track energy, not tied to any investigation, no secret files, no authority backing it, just smoke, no fire. And if the court agrees, Drake's case could crumble right here. The judge suddenly flipped the script, pressing UMG with a brutal question. If context is everything, doesn't that mean diss tracks are always just opinion? And is that even consistent with New York law? That moment shook the room, because the judge was hinting that rap lyrics might not be automatically untouchable. Courts have ruled before that the setting alone doesn't decide the issue. And that means even within battle rap, some bars could, in theory, cross into factual territory. UMG's lawyers scrambled to clarify. They admitted the form isn't automatically decisive, but insisted it shapes interpretation. Just like how an opinion column in a newspaper screams, opinion, courts still comb through the actual content. And in rap battles, they argued it's a world built on exaggeration, where wild insults are expected and almost never taken literally. Their take was blunt. Kendrick's Not Like Us is nothing but exaggerated trash talk, dripping with rhetorical hyperbole, not facts. To back it up, UMG reached into the casebook. They cited Hobbs vs. Imus, the defamation case where shock jock Don Imus walked away clean. The court dismissed the lawsuit early, not just because of the words themselves, but because of Imus's notorious history and the outrageous culture of shock radio. In that world, over-the-top statements were expected, so they were judged opinion, even if they sounded factual on the surface. UMG tried to drop the same logic here. Rap battles thrive on bigger-than-life insults, and fans know it. But the judge wasn't letting them off easy. He fired back, pointing out that this case isn't about shock radio, it's about rap diss tracks, a different lane altogether. The implication? Kendrick's lyrics might not get the same free pass UMG was banking on. The judge then raised the million-dollar question: who exactly is the ordinary listener when it comes to rap? Is it casual radio listeners who barely know rap culture, or die-hard fans who live for battle traditions, where insults are expected? But sometimes, truth slips through the bars. History proves rap beef isn't always empty talk. Some diss lines have turned out to be very real, and that's what had the judge wondering. Can he really dismiss this case so early without digging deeper? Maybe even calling expert witnesses to explain how fans interpret disses. UMG's lawyers shot back fast, insisting no court has ever needed rap experts to settle the fact versus opinion divide. They argued New York state and federal law are clear. It's judges, not juries, who make that call by looking at the words and their broader context. To prove it, they cited Terrain versus Liu, where a case was dismissed early without experts, and Rappaport, where the ruling leaned entirely on language and context alone. No specialists, no outside help, just the judge's analysis. But the judge wasn't fully convinced. He pushed back, pointing out that rap battles aren't like regular media. This is a whole specialized culture with its own codes, its own expectations, and sometimes its own truths buried in punchlines. Could he really claim to know how rap fans process Kendrick's bars without someone breaking it down? Could he be sure if they're just hyperbolic trash talk or accusations meant to sting as fact? UMG's lawyer doubled down, saying courts don't bring in interpreters for cultural context. They go by what's already in the record, the lawsuit's language, the lyrics themselves, and the circumstances around them. But with the judge openly questioning whether he even has enough understanding to rule, the tension in that courtroom shot through the roof. UMG's lawyers fired back hard, saying nothing more was needed. The law already has all the context it needs. They argued that defamation lives and dies on context, and the difference between an article publishing accusations and a rapper firing shots in a diss track is massive. A rap battle has its own rules, its own culture, and that setting defines the meaning behind the words. Drake's own complaint, they pointed out, already lays it all out. The long history with Kendrick, the rap beef, and the swirling rumors about underage allegations that have followed him for years. And since Not Like Us has been streamed and shared billions of times, UMG argued the court can't just rely on what one listener says they thought it meant. Whether it's a hardcore fan or a casual Super Bowl viewer, the law uses an objective standard. What would a reasonable listener understand based on what's publicly known? To drive it home, UMG cited Terrain, where a plaintiff tried to block earlier statements from being factored in, but the court shut it down. Judges are expected to weigh the full narrative, not cherry-pick individual interpretations. And here's the kicker. In Terrain, the court even considered the plaintiff's own words because he had put them in the complaint. That's exactly what UMG leaned on here. Drake himself referenced his rap beef history, multiple diss tracks, and even media articles documenting it. He even cited one of his own controversial lyrics. That's a gift from me about liking young girls. So when Kendrick shot back with, "Hey Drake, I hear you like them young," UMG argued the source was crystal clear. To them, it wasn't defamation. It was rap sparring with ammo Drake himself had already put into play. With that, UMG torched Drake's counterclaim that online comments proved fans took the lyrics as fact, calling it a weak attempt that couldn't hold up in court. The tension in that courtroom hit a boiling point. Was Drake building a real case or just digging his own grave with his past words? UMG's closing punches were sharp. First, defamation law doesn't run on scattered hot takes from Twitter or Instagram comments. It runs on an objective standard. Second, most of the posts Drake's team waved around were clearly jokes, drenched in emojis, profanity, and over-the-top trolling. Hardly the kind of serious belief that could sway a court. But even with all that, the heart of this case still hangs in the balance. Drake's lawyers argue Kendrick crossed the ultimate line, spitting accusations that risked his career and reputation. UMG insists it was nothing more than classic rap warfare, exaggerated hyperbole baked into the culture of diss tracks. And now, the judge has refused to shut it down, allowing the case to move forward and leaving the world staring at one burning question. Can rap lyrics ever be treated as factual defamation in a court of law? This isn't just about Drake and Kendrick anymore. This trial could set a precedent that rewrites the entire future of hip-hop battles, deciding whether bars are just artistic punches or evidence that can drag rappers into courtrooms. The stakes have never been higher, and every twist in this saga is being watched like a Netflix series unfolding in real time. Thanks for rocking with me through this breakdown. Don't forget to hit that like button, smash subscribe, drop your thoughts in the comments, and share this video with your crew. I'll catch you in the next one.